Have you ever seen something flying that was so massive your brain refused to accept it was real? That feeling that something this large should not be able to stay in the air. Forget everything you think you know about airplanes, because today we are taking that feeling to the absolute limit. You are about to meet machines that weigh as much as 100 elephants, skyscrapers with wings that looked at gravity and said, "No, welcome to colossal scale." And these are not ordinary aircraft. These are flying giants that decided the ground was too small for them. From a wooden relic built in 1947 to a nuclear flying hotel for 5,000 people that may never need to land. This journey will take us through 9 levels of pure monstrosity. We will go from classics you already thought were huge to aircraft shaped like a giant backside that will make you question your own eyes. Stay until the end, because when you see the king of the skies, you will understand why human scale means nothing next to the titans of the air. Subscribe right now, hit the notification bell, and get ready. On this channel, size really does matter. We are taking off. Level 1. The Wooden Titanic, the Spruce Goose. To understand this escalation, we first need a historical reference point, the Titanic of the skies, the Spruce Goose. This aircraft was born in 1947 in a world where steel was scarce after the war. Billionaire Howard Hughes decided to build the impossible, a flying boat so massive it could cross the Atlantic with 2 Sherman tanks inside its belly. But what makes it an absolute anomaly is that, because of wartime restrictions, it was built almost entirely out of wood. With a wingspan of 320 feet, it held the record for the longest wingspan on Earth for 70 years. Its wings were so thick that mechanics could actually walk inside them to repair the engines during flight. It had 8 enormous propeller engines, but its destiny was as brief as it was legendary. On November 2, 1947, it rose just 70 feet above the water, flew for only 1 minute, then landed and never took off again. It became a wooden ghost, a reminder that human beings can sometimes dream bigger than physics itself. But while this was a dream made of wood, the next level is a nightmare of iron, smoke, and raw power. Level 2. The B-52 Stratofortress. This is not just an aircraft. It is a survivor from another era that refuses to retire. Designed in the 1950s with slide rules, paper, and pure engineering instinct, the B-52 Stratofortress has lived through the Cold War, the moon landing, the birth of the internet, and the rise of the modern digital world. And the most terrifying part is that it is still one of the most feared tools in the United States arsenal. The first thing that hits you is its engines. It does not have 2. It does not have 4. It has 8 jet engines hanging beneath its wings. When this monster starts its turbines, it throws out a cloud of dark smoke so dense it looks as if the sky itself is catching fire. Its wingspan stretches 185 feet, but what truly impresses people is the flexibility. Its wings are so long and so full of fuel that when the aircraft is on the ground, they need small wheels near the tips so they do not scrape against the runway. But once it takes off, those same wings bend upward by as much as 16 feet, almost as if the aircraft is physically fighting gravity. The B-52 is so long, so heavy, and so old school that its pilots do not simply fly it, they tame it. Because of its older design, this giant uses a rotating landing gear system for crosswind landings. That means it can approach the runway while flying sideways, while its wheels remain aligned with the strip below. It is like watching a 200-ton building drift through the sky at almost 190 miles per hour. With the ability to carry more than 70,000 pounds of bombs and a range that allows it to circle the world with aerial refueling, the B-52 is a dinosaur that has outlived many of its supposed replacements. But do not be fooled by its aggression, because even though this warrior intimidates, in Level 3 we meet a giant that trades bombs for extreme luxury. Level 3. The Airbus A380-800. If the B-52 is military brute force, Level 3 is the absolute excess of civilian engineering. Welcome to the age of the Airbus A380, the only passenger aircraft in history with 2 full decks running from nose to tail. If the Boeing 747 is the queen, then the A380 is, without question, the empire. Imagine you are not inside an airplane, but inside a luxury hotel in Las Vegas, flying more than 30,000 feet above the Earth. The A380 is so massive that it allowed airlines to install things that once seemed impossible in commercial aviation. Private showers with hot water, suites with closing doors, onboard bars, and staircases worthy of a Hollywood mansion. In its maximum configuration, this Titan can carry up to 853 passengers. That is almost the population of a small town flying at around 560 miles per hour. But what you do not see is even more impressive. The internal wiring of an A380 stretches for more than 310 miles, enough to cover the distance of 12 marathons back to back. Its wings cover more than 9,000 square feet. They are so large that when the A380 takes off, it leaves behind wake turbulence so powerful that the next aircraft must wait several minutes before departing. But being the biggest comes at a cost. The A380 weighs 575 tons at takeoff. It is so heavy and its wings are so wide that some of the world's most important airports had to redesign themselves around it. Wider runways, reinforced pavement, and double-level jet bridges so passengers could board both decks at the same time. It is an aluminum skyscraper that challenged not only gravity but also economic logic. And although production eventually ended because it was simply too large for the world it was built for, the A380 remains the closest thing humanity has ever put in the sky to a flying cruise ship. But get ready, because if you think carrying 800 people is impressive, Level 4 will show you what happens when that same kind of space is used to swallow machines that weigh hundreds of tons. Level 4, the Antonov An-124 Ruslan. Now we enter the territory of the most extreme Soviet engineering with the Antonov An-124, nicknamed Ruslan. If the previous level was a luxury hotel in the sky, this is an industrial warehouse with wings. Forget suitcases, forget food carts. This aircraft was born to move what the rest of the world considers immovable. What makes it colossal is the way it interacts with its cargo. Unlike most aircraft, this giant has a visor-like nose that lifts completely upward using a massive hydraulic system. But its real trick is that it kneels. Its front landing gear partially retracts, lowering the nose toward the ground so the loading ramp reaches the perfect angle. It is like watching a metal beast bow before swallowing its cargo. So how big is its belly? Imagine a tunnel almost 120 feet long that has transported everything from luxury yachts to train locomotives. On one mission, it carried a 135-ton electrical generator, basically the weight of 100 cars concentrated into a single object. Any ordinary aircraft would break apart trying to lift something like that. For the Ruslan, it is just another Tuesday. Because of these extreme loads, its floor is reinforced with titanium so it can resist the weight without deforming. It even carries its own internal cranes capable of moving loads of up to 10 tons inside the cargo bay. It is rugged, brutal, and not trying to be beautiful. It was designed for a world without limits. But prepare yourself, because the next level will make you question whether what you are seeing is a real aircraft or a glitch in the simulation. Its shape is something you will never forget. Level 5. The Airlander 10. The Flying Bum. Pause for a second. If you were getting used to metal wings and roaring engines, prepare to question your eyesight. Welcome to the Airlander 10, one of the largest flying objects in the world today. At over 300 feet long, it is longer than many of the giants we have already seen, but its appearance has earned it a worldwide nickname, the Flying Bum. And honestly, you only need to see it from behind to understand that the name is not an exaggeration. So what exactly is this enormous thing? It is not a conventional airplane. It is not a normal airship either. It is a hybrid. Its helium-filled body gives it buoyancy, but its aerodynamic shape also generates lift, like an aircraft wing. That combination allows it to do something that almost feels like magic. It can remain suspended in the air, almost motionless, for up to 5 days without needing to land and refuel. Unlike commercial airplanes, the Airlander 10 is a rebel. It does not need traditional runways. Thanks to its air cushion landing system, it can land on almost any surface: water, sand, ice, or even an uneven grass field. Imagine a colossus the size of a football stadium settling gently onto the ocean like a helium swan. It is strange, enormous, and maybe the only aircraft in the world that makes you smile because of its shape. It has been designed with the idea of luxury expeditions, including glass floors and panoramic spaces that break every rule of heavy metal aviation. But do not be fooled by its softness, because in Level 6, we return to military brutality with an aircraft so large that the first historic flight ever made by the Wright brothers could fit entirely inside its belly. Level 6, the Lockheed C-5 Galaxy. We return to American power with the pride of global military logistics, the Lockheed C-5 Galaxy. If the previous level was a silent helium giant, this is a roar of titanium and a flying paradox from history. To understand its scale, think about this. The Wright brothers' first flight in 1903 covered 120 feet. The cargo compartment of the C-5 stretches about 123 feet. The entire berth of powered aviation could fit inside the belly of this aircraft, and there would still be room left for a couple of military trucks. The C-5 is a mobile bridge above the clouds. Like the Antonov, its nose can lift open, but the Galaxy also opens completely from the rear. This allows a continuous flow loading operation. You can load 6 Apache helicopters or 2 70-ton Abrams tanks through one end and drive them out the other without complicated maneuvering. It is literally a steel tunnel flying at about 500 miles per hour. To move that much mass, it needs an almost absurd amount of fuel. Its tanks can carry enough fuel for an average car to drive around the world 31 times. When this giant takes off at maximum weight, the ground of the airbase vibrates so intensely that it can be felt miles away. It is brute force engineered to move an entire army to the other side of the planet in a matter of hours. It is the definition of colossal power in the military world. But even this flying tunnel starts to look narrow when we compare it with Level 7, where engineering went completely insane and decided that one fuselage was not enough to conquer the sky. Level 7, Stratolaunch, the Rock. If the previous level seemed massive, prepare yourself, because Level 7 looks like a mistake in reality. Imagine an aircraft that does not have one fuselage, but two. Two full aircraft bodies joined together by a wing so long it seems to challenge the laws of physics. Welcome to Stratolaunch, also known as the Rock. With a wingspan of 385 feet, this is officially the aircraft with the longest wingspan ever built in human history. To visualize its size, imagine placing it in the center of a football stadium. Its wings would extend far beyond the stands on both sides. It is so wide that it cannot fit into any normal hangar. It needed a custom-built home. To move this enormous structure, it uses 6 massive Boeing 747 engines and a landing gear system made up of 28 wheels. But why 2 bodies? The answer is pure space launch logic. Stratolaunch is a mobile launch platform. In the empty space between its 2 fuselages, it can carry rockets weighing up to 250 tons. It climbs to more than 30,000 feet, releases the rocket in the upper atmosphere, and then that rocket ignites its own engines to continue toward space. It is literally a flying launch pad. Keeping these 2 aircraft bodies connected while supporting a rocket is an engineering nightmare solved with reinforced carbon fiber. Watching it take off is surreal. At first, it almost looks like a wounded giant trying to rise. But once it is in the air, it becomes the greatest expression of colossal wingspan ever seen above the clouds. It is a piece of science fiction made real, and it prepares us for Level 8, the absolute king that today lives only in memory. Level 8, the Antonov An-225 Mriya. We have reached the climax of reality, the place where engineering becomes legend. If the icon of the seas is the king of the oceans, then the Antonov An-225 Mriya was, and in many ways still is, the absolute king of the skies. Its name means dream in Ukrainian, and for more than 3 decades, it was the living reminder that humanity can make the impossible fly. The Mriya was a technical anomaly. It had 6 massive engines and a landing gear system with 32 wheels designed to support a maximum weight of 640 tons. That is like 3 commercial aircraft taking off at the same time. Its cargo hold was so immense that it could carry 50 family cars or steel components weighing 190 tons. It broke world records for air cargo and became the aircraft that made other aircraft look small. But what many people forget is that its origin story sounds like science fiction. The An-225 was designed to carry the Soviet space shuttle, the Buran, on its back. That is why it had such a distinctive twin-tail design, to prevent the airflow from the shuttle from destabilizing the aircraft. It was literally a spacecraft carrier, one flying machine carrying another flying machine built to leave Earth. But on February 27, 2022, the dream was broken when the only completed aircraft in the world was destroyed inside its hangar in Ukraine. Rebuilding it today would cost more than $3 billion. Its throne remains empty, and it leaves us with one haunting question. Have we reached the limit of what is possible, or will the next level prove that true gigantism has only just begun? Level 9. The Pangeos of the Sky. The Sky Cruise. If the previous level left us heartbroken with the end of the Mriya, Level 9 forces us to look upward, far beyond the clouds, towards something that could be the ultimate climax of our species. If the future of the seas is Pangeos, then the future of the skies is the Sky Cruise. It is not just an aircraft, it is not just transportation, it is an autonomous flying city. Imagine a structure so massive that it would need 20 electric engines just to remain in the air. But here is the twist that changes everything. Those engines would not run on kerosene. They would not run on ordinary batteries. The Sky Cruise would be powered by an internal nuclear fusion reactor. This technology, the holy grail of energy, would give it almost unlimited autonomy. We are talking about a machine that could take off and potentially not touch the ground again for years. Inside this flying cruise, the concept of travel disappears and becomes residence. With capacity for 5,000 guests, the Sky Cruise would include 3-story shopping centers, movie theaters, live performance halls, heated swimming pools, and high-performance gyms. On the upper section, a 360-degree observation dome would allow passengers to see the stars with a clarity only possible far above the pollution of the surface. And how would you even get there? Passengers and supplies would be transported by conventional commercial aircraft that would dock with special ports in mid-air, almost like connecting to a space station. The design, created by engineer Hashem Al-Ghali, uses artificial intelligence to pilot the craft and predict turbulence minutes in advance, adjusting the wings so smoothly that passengers would not even feel the champagne moving in their glasses. Of course, skeptics say it is a recipe for disaster, a flying nuclear reactor over our heads. But people said similar things about steel when the Titanic was built. They said the sky was impossible before the Wright brothers took off for the first time. The Sky Cruise is the ultimate vision of gigantism, a world where the sky is no longer a barrier, but our new home. A scale so colossal that everything we have seen today feels like only the beginning of the story. From the humble but gigantic wooden Spruce Goose to nuclear cities that challenge imagination, humanity has always wanted to become bigger, fly higher, and carry more weight. If you stayed until this point, it is because you share our obsession with the immense. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to watch our video about the most colossal ships in the world, where you will see that the ocean also has its own monsters. Subscribe to Colossal Scale, turn on notifications, and leave us a comment. Do you think the Sky Cruise will ever become real, or will we forever remain with the memory of the Antonov An-225? I will read you below. And remember, on this channel, the world is always too small. We will see you in the next Colossal Scale.